In the spring of 1922, a small farm in Germany became the site of a crime so terrifying it remains unsolved a century later. 6 people lived here. 6 people died here. But the scariest part isn't that they were murdered. It's that for days before their deaths, the family knew they were not alone. Andreas Gruber was a stern man. He didn't scare easily. But days before the attack, he found something that chilled his blood. Footprints. Fresh tracks in the snow leading out of the dense forest and directly to his front door. But when he looked for tracks leading back to the woods, there were none. Whatever walked into his home never walked out. Andreas searched the barn. He searched the shed. He found nothing, but the house began to feel occupied. At night, the family heard footsteps in the attic, heavy pacing directly above their beds while they tried to sleep. Then, thing went missing. A set of house keys vanished from the hook. A newspaper the family never subscribed to appeared on the porch. The original maid, believing the house was haunted, packed her bags and fled. She told them she couldn't stay in a house that whispered. On March 31st, a new maid, Maria, arrived. It was her first day on the job. It would also be her last. As night fell on that Friday evening, a strange silence took over the farm. The cattle in the barn were restless. One by one, the family members were lured to the barn. First the father, Andreas. Then the mother, Kazilia. Then the daughter, Victoria, and her young child. They were led into the dark, thinking perhaps an animal was loose. They never saw the face of the devil waiting for them. The weapon was a mattock, a heavy pickaxe used for farming. The next day, neighbors noticed the house was quiet. No smoke from the chimney, no movement in the yard. The postman left mail that went untouched. The town began to worry. 4 days passed before anyone checked on them. On April 4th, 3 neighbors broke into the barn to investigate. What they found would haunt them for the rest of their lives. In the corner of the stable, stacked on top of each other like firewood, were 4 bodies, covered in hay, brutally slain. Inside the house, they found the maid killed in her bed, and the youngest, baby Yosef, killed in his crib. But the autopsy revealed a detail that turned this tragedy into a nightmare. The killer didn't leave after the murders. Witnesses reported seeing smoke from the chimney after the family was dead. The cattle had been fed. Someone had eaten the food in the pantry. Someone had slept in the beds. The killer lived in the house. For 3 days, the murderer lived with the corpses. He stoked the fire. He fed the animals. He existed alongside his victims. Police interviewed hundreds of suspects, vagrants, neighbors, even angry lovers, but no motive ever made sense. The mattock was found hidden in the attic floorboards, cleaned. The killer had taken his time. It wasn't robbery. Large sums of cash were left in the house, untouched. This was personal. This was hate. The victims' heads were removed and sent to Munich for psychic analysis, a desperate move by a baffled police force. A year later, the farm was demolished. The locals wanted to erase the evil, but you cannot erase a mystery this deep. Today, only a memorial stands in the field, but the question remains, who was the man in the attic? Was it a secret lover? A vengeful neighbor? Or a drifting soldier? He watched them. He waited for them. And he lived with them. The brutality was absolute. They never stood a chance. Imagine sleeping. While he walked above you, he had the keys. He had the control. Hinterkaifeck is gone. But the fear remains. Case unsolved. 100 years of silence. Who was he? Subscribe for more.